to Random Fandom Chats. I'm Tandra.
I'm Dee Dee.
And Annabeth's hiding today. She's back
She's
there.
a little bit tuckered out.
And today is one of our few specials that we decided to run upon occasion. And we decided since Easter was coming up, we would do one dealing with religion in science fiction.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of an interesting topic, especially since in a lot of science fiction shows, they really have an almost complete absence of religion, where they don't really talk about religion. They kind of just gloss over it a lot. It's almost like they think most of the time that in the future we're just kind of push religion to the wayside.
We'll outgrow it or something. As humanity gets older, we won't need it or something. They almost have this attitude of, if you believe in, religious stuff, that you're primitive, or that, you haven't evolved or something, which is kind of interesting. But there are some references to some religions or other things in some sci-fi, and we pulled out a few notable ones today. Mm-hmm. The first one is Stargate SG1.
Now, that show is kind of interesting because they, like you were saying, they kind of take a take on how religion is usually for primitive cultures and whatnot. The Ghoul, the main antagonist of this universe, came to Earth in ancient Egypt, and the Egyptians worshipped them as gods and, revered them, pretty much based their whole religion off of them and their architecture and whatnot like that. They even visit some planets that have other Earth-like cultures, like, a Norse mythology with Asgard and Thor and all that, and even some Asian more cultures and whatnot. And they talk about religion with some of the characters, Teal'c more specifically than the others. They don't really talk about religion
because he's the alien of the group.
Mm-hmm. And
when you talk about the humans, they really don't talk about the religion.
They really don't. I think they mentioned that the main character, Richard Dean Anderson's character, I think they mentioned that he believed in God at least, but that was about it.
Yeah, they don't bring it up a lot, but the whole series is, of course, wrapped or steeped in the whole idea that our religion was actually based on aliens. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, that the ancient Egyptian religion was actually based on aliens coming here and all that. So the whole story, line of the whole premise of the story deals with that. So that's why we brought that one up. Now, in literature that we like to read in science fiction, one notable one is Robert A. Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land. Mm-hmm. It was written in the early 1960s. So it's getting kind of old now,
a little bit,
but it still reads really well. Mm-hmm. It's important to read the uncut version if you're going to read it, because it flows better.
It's one of his more popular books too.
It is
one of his more well-known books.
But the reason why we included this one is because Mike, the main character, is a human that was raised on Mars as Martian. And he comes back to Earth, and he's trying to understand
humanity and just humans in general.
And a lot of that is his exploring religion, and actually him starting a religion and everything. It gets kind of intriguing. And the concepts that they deal with in the book are really interesting, and how, you deal with
views humanity is kind of an interesting take on it.
Right. And then, of course, the religion is a huge, huge portion of the book, because, he kind of goes that direction. And like I said, almost becomes Jesus or godlike in his own way in some
We won't give away too many spoilers.
Not too much, but I'm not going to say too much there, but when you read it, it'll make a lot more sense. But that's why we included that. Also, another notable one that
almost everyone watching this vlog will probably notice is Star Wars. Now, the main reason we put this on our list is because a lot of people really do view the Force and practitioners of the Force as almost a religious group, and I honestly don't think that's much of a misnomer, because when you base your entire life and being around one concept or one ideal, it's kind of hard to define it in any other way but religion.
Right.
Now, what would you generally say on that topic?
Well, I had always thought of it as, when you're talking about the Force, and like I said before, they brought up the whole midichlorians thing.
Trying to give it a scientific basis.
Before they did that, it had a lot more religious overtones to it, because if, the whole idea is that the Force surrounds us and goes through us, and it's all living things.
We're all connected.
And we're all connected, and you draw that from that energy, and you can use that and channel it. And that is actually a very common concept in a lot of religions.
They don't necessarily define it by saying the Force.
The Force, but that's basically, and there was a whole book written on it soon after Star Wars came out called The Force of Star Wars. It's a nonfiction book, actually, by Frank Alnut. and he discusses all these different, things about it and how, it deals, in kind of a religious, nature of it that way. So, which is, fascinating. I mean, it's really, I always really liked the idea that, a lot of religions do believe that we are all part of one main thing.
Cohesive existence.
Right, that we pull and draw from. So I always thought it was kind of cool and interesting. And then, of course, you have some other even semi-goofy parts of it, like C-3PO being godlike to the Ewoks,
The shiny little god.
So that was kind of, just kind of a fun little thing thrown in. So Star Wars is really cool. Now, another series that I thought, it was almost when you think of religion and sci-fi, it was the first thing that I thought of, which was Babylon 5. If it's a series you've never watched or never seen, I highly recommend it. It is extremely well written and well acted and produced. It was made in the 90s.
They deal with a lot of interesting concepts like religion.
Almost every episode deals with religion, or at least mentions religion in some way, shape, or form. Some of them, actually, almost the whole episode is dealing with religion in some way, shape, or form. You've got all these different aliens, and they talk about their different religions and what it means to them, and what there is. And then they talk about human religions. They have different travelers and seekers that come onto the station that are part of different religious groups. Like I said, they have some storylines that deal with religion just almost exclusively, like showcasing the different religions of the different cultures.
Which is a very good episode.
It is. And then there's some where they're dealing with, fighting science versus religion and which should win. They deal with that.
Very controversial topic there.
And they actually discuss the religion of a lot of the main characters.
Even ones who aren't particularly religious.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll mention God, or they will say that they're Jewish, or that they're Christian, or they're this or that. Or that their order believes this or that, or we need to do this because. Also, a lot of the main characters will showcase some of their religious beliefs and different rituals and things, and they'll show, well, this is what we believe, or this is, why we believe this. One character, has got his holy book that is copied down by hand for centuries, and he's, got a task where he's working on that and all that. So, I mean, it's just religion's everywhere in the.
But one thing that they specifically brought up in one episode is that because you can't really prove one religion is right over the other, then that means that all religions in and of themselves can be right. And I thought that was a very interesting thing to bring up. Well, it doesn't matter how you practice.
Right. And maybe that's the whole idea too. That maybe it doesn't matter how you do it, just that you
believe in general.
Yeah, that you have a religion, or that you believe in something in general. It might be what's important rather than so much about how you practice it. So it's a great series. I mean, I don't want to mislead that it's all about religion.
No, definitely not. But they do showcase it a lot, especially for a science fiction.
Right. It influences the characters, and it's not a religious science fiction show by any means. Like some of the movies they've put out in the past or anything like that. It's not like that, but they do talk about religion a lot, or at least mention it.
I think they showcase it in a positive light for the most part, too.
They do.
A lot of science fiction, even when they do showcase religion, they don't necessarily do it in the best of light. Again, kind of harping on that whole, we'll eventually outgrow religion as a general thing.
Right. Or not mention it at all, which often will happen. Their storylines won't have anything to do with religion. So I always thought it was fascinating that this one interweaves people's beliefs
into the story so well.
Right. And they did a great job with it. So that is our Easter special for this time, and we appreciate you joining us for it, and any other specials we decide to put up, and of course our regular vlogs that we pull out random topics. And so if you like us, please give us a thumbs up or subscribe.
And tell all your friends. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions in the section below, and we'll see you guys next time.